Wow. I get to follow that. Late last night, I was just about par with this presentation. And the voice said, au contraire. Anybody who's in this business knows that when Spirit speaks, you listen. So I was reminded that we have a common vocation to everybody. All humanity has a common vocation. I think that Pope John Paul II summed it up pretty well, and I'm paraphrasing. God has inherently given every woman and every man a vocation. And that vocation is love. Co-founder Charles Fillmore says that love is our pure essence of being. It is what we are, being so wonderfully expressed by who we are. And we are to love ourselves and others as we are loved, unconditionally, without question, and unceasingly. We are to see through the eyes of love, first and foremost. Some of you may remember that a few years ago, I was in a federal capital case jury trial. It was a trial of a Schofield barrack soldier who, over a 6 or 7 month period, daily beat his 5-year-old daughter, eventually killing her. And to get through that 4-month ordeal, I had to see the love that was in him, because the love that was in him is the love that is in me, regardless of the heinous behavior. I had to see the love in him to get through that ordeal. And love is still healing me now. Folks, see with your eyes of love first and foremost, because what the world needs now is love. Sweet love. All right then, now that we have hit rock bottom, it's time for some sacred shenanigans. What do you think? Are you vocating or just working? How many folks in the room are vocating? Keep your hands up. This next question is really important. Would you do what you do for free? Nice. Well, you didn't put your hands up first. You guys don't count. Nah. That's the basic answer to this question. Now we can sit down and take an offering. Not so fast. Vocating is doing what you're here to do, being who you've come to be and doing what is yours to do. Working is, well, working. Now, I've worked for a living, and it was work. However, vocating is a different story. By definition, vocation is a summons to a particular course of action. Work is a labor or cause to labor. Just the sound of that definition of work sends all my back ears, which are numerous, straight out. I get a little giggly about that. It's not what I would like to do. And for many years, I worked for a living. But it's time to live for a living. That's your vocation. It is what you would do for free. It goes, another definition, which I think is really easy, is a vocation is what we get to do. Work is what we have to do. How many in this room get up and say, I have to go to work? Don't lie to me now. You're in church. Thank you for being honest. I don't anymore, but I did. You might know that for 20 years I worked at Hawaiian Electric. I was a power plant operator at the downtown power plant by a lower tower. I started on August 21st, 1989, and I retired on August 21st, 2009. However, every day it was shift work. You know, you're sleeping during the day, you're working during the night, it's rotating backward it was just awful. So every time I got up, it was, I have to go. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a great place to work. The benefits and wages were tremendous. And to this day, I will always be extraordinarily grateful for working there, because working there got me to here. However, how I looked at it made me miserable. The only good thing about going to work was I was riding my motorcycle. There and then home. I went straight there, but I never kind of went straight home. You had to go through, you had to man you around. Yeah. But that was the only good thing about going. And I was miserable. I decided I didn't want to work more than 20 years a shift work because I'd worked 10 years on the mainland. So I became a shift supervisor about 7 years into my little stint there. Because I knew that if I did 12 years of shift supervisor position, that I could retire at the same pension level if I worked 30 years as an operator. Because they give merit people more, right? So, smart guy. Remember now, I'm more than a pretty face. And I'm all of that. So I worked 12 years as a shift supervisor, knowing that I could retire. For 15 years, I was miserable. And one evening in prayer time or quiet, I don't know what it was, it dawned on me that I have created my misery by how I thought of what I did. So the question was posed to me by the small voice, you get to go. I wonder what that would feel like if you get to go. You get to go. So I said, what's the difference? Trust me, there's a difference. So I said, okay, I'm up for this. So instead of saying I have to go, I said, I get to go to work. And I got to tell you, it was the exact same job, the exact same people. Everything was the exact same, except I was happy. Not happy enough to stay more than 20 years, but I was happy. And all I did was change my attitude toward what I was doing. Was that my vocation? No. But if you're not willing to step into your vocation, you're not happy in your job, change how you look at your job. You get to go. It will change everything. Vocation, according to priest and author Thomas Merton said, a man knows he has found his vocation when he stops thinking about how to live and begins to live. How many of us are bulldozing through life? Not only are we making a mess of ourselves, but we're leaving a mess behind us. We try to get through life, and we're not happy. What about having life in us live through us? Wow. Have life live through you instead of having you try to get through life. There was something in you, there was life in you that wants to come out, and be expressed. And that life in you, that something is your vocation. Everybody has one. Everybody has one. Civil rights activist and author Dr. Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Ask what the world needs and then ask what makes you come alive and go do it. That sounds familiar to me. Go do it. Does anybody, no, that sounds really familiar. Oh, it's the fifth principle of unity, right? Action. So go and do it. What the world needs is people who have come alive. What we need is folks to come alive with what is on fire with you inside. That's something, your vocation. Sometimes called the calling. Friends, you're all going to get called. Every single one of you. Are you willing to take the call? Are you willing to take the call, or are you going to step into humanity and say, I'm not good enough to do that. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I can't do that. Where? That's what we do in our humanity. We love to go to stay at the Misery Motel, have lunch at the Boohoo Buffet, and then have a cocktail at the Woe Is Me Lounge. Not anymore. Not anymore. Go do your calling. You've been called. You've been called. It's waiting patiently for you to come into expression. And in expressing your vocation, that's heaven on earth, the joy of living the abundant life. Take the call. Step into it.
The calling is spoken of in many places in Scripture, but I like Ephesians 4:1. And this is Paul writing a letter to the Ephesians. Now, just don't think only the Ephesians get the message. This message is for everyone. He writes, I therefore beseech you to live as is worthy of the rank to which you have been called. Important word in this is beseech. I got a feeling that Paul, in his humanity, was miserable on occasion. And then he stepped into his vocation and found that it was indescribably great. It was what he was here. He was doing what it was his to do. And he also looked around and saw nobody else. So he beseeches us to step into our calling, to behave in the manner at which our calling desires, and to bring that expression to right here and right now. Let me tell you a story, if you don't mind. I got my calling in 1992, third row in the back, about 2 seats in. It was my third Sunday here at Unity Church of Hawaii, after being summarily dismissed by a few other churches because I asked questions. Oops. Oh, and then when I got a question, guess what I did? I didn't answer. I'd question that too. Back row, third seat in, second seat in, and Reverend John Strickland was the minister, and he was speaking about gifts and purpose. And it was a great message, because my life didn't make a whole lot of sense until that message. And in the message, it was said that we all have a gift, and we all are here for a purpose. Reverend Maji spoke of that in the opening. We are all here for a purpose. And in the message, we were given instructions. To get your gift and purpose, you ask in prayer. I said, all right, I can do this. I can pray. Pretty good prayer. So that night, I got ready. I got still. I got quiet. Even got in the position. Took a deep breath. Beloved, what is my gift? What is my purpose? Nothing. Going, okay. Okay, nothing. Well, we'll try it again tomorrow. Tomorrow comes around. I take 2 deep breaths this time. Once again, assume the position. Beloved, what is my gift and purpose? Once again, nothing. Okay, I'm getting a little disappointed in this now. You know, I know Spirit is all-knowing and all-providing, but, you know, I'd like to have this, you know, so I said, okay, you know what? One more time. The third night, 3 breaths. Assume the position. God, beloved, what is my gift and my purpose? And I heard the voice. The voice said, are you willing? Are you willing? Am I willing? I wasn't willing the first 2 times? No. So I said, yes, I am willing. And there was a chuckle. Then I heard, your gift is compassion. Your purpose is pastoral care. Wow. Now what? So I used my imagination. Remember, this is the month of imagination, and we use our imagination to give substance, shape, and form. And Unity's Trinity is mind, idea, expression, which is the way that we create. So in mind, it was compassion. The idea in me was pastoral care, and then I used my imagination and came up with chaplain. Okay, we're moving down the road. What's a chaplain? So I wanted to know how. I didn't need to know how. By golly, I needed to know how. I wasn't getting the how. And the reason was, need was in the way. Need was a wall in front of me. So I let go of the need. It disappeared, and you know what I got? The how. I got the how. And off we went. I got the opportunities. My imagination brought to me the opportunities that I needed. The first thing I did was right here at Unity Church of Hawaii. Anybody remember Reverend Mary Gabelson? Right. Did anybody take her prayer center training? The Unity Prayer Center training? Did anybody take that? Well, that was the first step. The Unity Prayer Center used to be where the Peace Chapel is now. We'd actually type letters. We had little blue stationery, and we would type letters and send them to people when they put a prayer request for a letter. I'd answer the phone and talk with folks. Unity Prayer Center training was my first step. And then, Interfaith Ministries, which is now Pacific Health Ministry, had a workshop on lay chaplain visitation training. And Anka Flor was the teacher of that training. It was the first thing that she did on her arrival from Germany to here. And there was about 30 of us up in room 204. The class happened here, and a bunch of us took it. But I think Sandra Dockham Leong took it. I don't see Sandra, but anyway, we took this wonderful week-long lay chaplain visitation training, beginning. It was a great class, because visiting someone in an institution is totally different than praying for somebody here in the confines and safety of your chapel. About maybe a month after that was done, I started taking Unity CEP classes, what you guys know as SEE. Back in those days, we took notes with hammer and chisel. And it was called Continuing Educational Program. It is still what is generally called the Personal Development Program. Well, I took 6 of the classes. They were really good. And I said, I don't need these for credit. I'm never going to use these classes. Never going to use these classes, ever. Yeah, right. Well, guess what? I needed to take those 6 all over again to get credit so I could finish the Personal Development Program. I believe I hold the record for most classes taken in the Personal Development Program. There's usually 25. I took 31. They were so nice, I did some twice. And along the way, more opportunities came. Pacific Health Ministry offered an intermediate lay chaplain visitation training, and this required a 6-month commitment of once a week visitation at a brand new nursing facility in Pearl City, the Pearl City Nursing Home. Well, my 6-month stint turned into twice a week for 2.5 years. The director of Pacific Health Ministry at the time saw the gift in me, saw that in me, and approached me in taking what is called clinical pastoral education. This is what you would take to gain the title of chaplain at a hospital. I was still working at Hawaiian Electric, so I couldn't become a 12-month full-term resident chaplain at like Queens. But what they offered me was a 1-year unit called the Extended Unit CPE. So I did 4 units in a row over a 4-year period, starting in 2001, ending in 2003. I served at Straub Hospital for 2 of them, Pohainani Retirement Community for 1, and also at Kapiolani Hospital for Women and Children. Now I got my 4 units of CPE. I'm ready to rock and roll. And then I asked a question. Geez, I'd like to have a continuum of learning. This is coming from the guy that said he'd never go back to school. Well, and you know what the old thing is, be careful what you ask for. Well, my continuum of learning continued. I stepped into the leadership program at Unity, becoming a licensed Unity teacher after 4 trips to Unity Village, taking classes and then being tested. I was credentialed as a licensed Unity teacher. Oh, was that end of it? Oh, no. More learning. We formed the Pacific Rim region, and then we formed the Unity National School of the Pacific Rim. And I was honored and privileged to be in the inaugural class of the International Ministerial Program. And after 4 years of studies, was ordained in November of 2016 and had the celebration of ordaining here in January of 2007. Thank you. Well, in that group, sitting about halfway back on the Diamond Head side, was Anka Flor, who now is the director of Pacific Health Ministry, and Chaplain Nathan Kohashi, who was my preceptor at Straub those 2 years of CPE. He's now the chaplain at Palimomi. They were sitting there in the back. And they came. It was great to see them. You know, I've I've been with Pacific Health Ministry for a long time, and I kind of went away, a little bit. But they were here, and we chatted up a little bit, and I was still in the euphoria of the ceremony and what have you. And I got to tell you, part of me is still up on the stage. It was, unless you've gone through that, you don't know what it's like. Anyway. And about 2 weeks later, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. They come. So here I am, an ordained unity minister, snot-nosed and freshly minted. So now I ask God, okay, where do I go? Every morning, where do I go? And the voice would say, stay here. Okay. I'd ask again, where do I go? The voice would say, stay here. This went on for a considerable amount of time. And I know you think I don't get ornery, right? So, yeah. Well, after I don't know how much time of stay here I got, but I stepped into my humanity in every way possible, and I got mad, and I said, God, can you give me a friggin' clue? There was a chuckle, and then uproarious laughter, and it got really quiet. Quiet like I had not been in before. And I heard the voice, and it said, stay here. So I surrendered. I let go of my need to know where I was to go. It would come all in due time. Well, sure enough, 2 weeks later, Uncle Floor from Pacific Health Ministry calls me up and says, how you doing? I said, I'm doing pretty good. He says, what are you doing? I said, nothing. Because I wasn't. I was retired. I was hanging out with my beloved wife, Diana. She still likes me. I'm blessed. Doing nothing. She says, well, would you be interested in applying for the position of chaplain at Kaiser Mauna Medical Center? There was a pause because I was giving myself CPR. And I said, sure. Well, I went interviewed. And on February 20th, I started as a chaplain at Kaiser Mauna Medical Center. I'm living my vocation. This is what I'm here to do. I stand before you living that. And I would say that it's great, blissful, blah, blah. There aren't any words. You add them all up, you multiply them by 1,000, and you don't have any idea what it feels like to do your vocation. To bring it into expression and to live it. I would do this for nothing. I walk around all day pinching myself going, I get to do this. I get to go make friends with people. Is it sometimes difficult? Yeah. It's challenging? Absolutely. But challenge is the threshold of success. I get to do this. That's why I'm here. Hallelujah. And that calling, whatever it is for all of you, is waiting for you. I'm living proof that it happens, folks. I'm living proof. So if you will, let's set an intention. If you're willing, I would like to do a little I wonder meditation. So get comfortable in your chair, if you will. Take some breaths and close your eyes if you like. And relax. And if you will, ponder a couple of I wonder questions. I wonder what my vocation is. I wonder what it feels like to bring my vocation into expression. And I wonder, am I willing to live the abundant life? With those wonder questions, take a few moments and rest in the stillness. And now with a gentle breath, let us bring our attention back to this time and place. I invite you to wonder those questions many times until you step into your vocation. In your bulletin, there was an insert. Everybody have your insert? Please take it out. It's very important. This is a summons. You are hereby summoned. And if you will, take your summons, put it over your heart, raise your right hand, and if you're willing to set the intention to live your vocation, please repeat after me. I swear to discover my vocation and bring it into expression. So help me God. And all of you on live stream, I forgot you guys. I'm going to say you guys to say it again with me again. Put your hand over your hearts, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I swear to discover my vocation and bring it into experience. So help me God. By the way, you've all been served. This is a question I would like to have you all ask anytime you're in a mirror. Except change it to, am I vocating or just working? Please ask yourself this question. And to sum up, an extraordinarily brilliant man used to say this all the time. Live the life you love and love the life you live. G. Merrill Thomas was my dad. And he said this from as far back as I can remember to his last days. He planted the seed, and he was a great example of living his vocation. Folks, it's waiting for you patiently to step into. I beseech you, as Paul does, to discover it and to live it. Aloha no, ahuyo, malama pono.